Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gopinata, Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadramai. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupada from Asar Parishara Sto Tarasata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Charabhakti Founder Jaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupada from Asar Parishara Sto Tarasata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Sikho Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Marpur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Marni Ki Jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtanam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, all glories to Sambhu devotees, all glories to Sambhu devotees, all glories to Sambhu devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, titled The Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka. Text number 15. Mridanga Sankha Bheryascha. Mridanga Sankha Bheryascha. Vinapanava Gomukaha. Vinapanava Gomukaha. Dunduri Anaka Ghantadya. Dunduri Anaka Ghantadya. Nedur Dundu Bhayastata. Nedur Dundu Bhayastata. Mridanga Sankha Bheryascha. Vinapanava Gomukaha. Dunduri Anaka Ghantadya. Nedur Dundu Bhayastata. Mridanga Sankha Bheryascha. Vinapanava Gomukaha. Dunduri Anaka Ghantadya. Nedur Dundu Bhayastata.
Mridanga Sankha Bheryascha. Vinapanava Gomukaha. Dunduri Anaka Ghantadya. Nedur Dundu Bhayastata. Mridanga Sankha Bheryascha. Vinapanava Gomukaha. Dunduri Anaka Ghantadya. Nedur Dundu Bhayastata.
Word for word translation, Mridanga, sweet sounding drum. Sankha, conch shell. Bherya, brass band. Cha, and. Veena, string band. Panava, a kind of flute. Gomukaha, another flute. Dunduri, another drum. Anaka, kettle. Ghanta, bell. Adayaha, others. Nedu, sounded. Dundubhayaha, other different types of drums.
Are there different types of drums?
Tata at that time. Translation. While the Lord was departing from the palace of Hastinapur, different types of drums like the mridanga, dhola, nagra, dunduri, and dundubi, and flutes of different types, the veena, gomukha, and beri, all sounded together to show him honor. There's no purport. We'll go to the next text number 16. Prasada sikararudha kurunaryo didrikshaya vavrisu kusume krishnam prema vridasmitekshanaha. Translation. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Out of a loving desire to see the Lord, the royal ladies of the Kurus got up on top of the palace, and smiling with affection and shyness, they showered flowers upon the Lord. Purport. Shyness is a particular extra natural beauty of the fair sex, and it commands respect from the opposite sex. This custom was observed even during the days of the Mahabharata, i.e. more than 5,000 years ago. It is only the less intelligent persons, not well versed in the history of the world, who say that observance of separation of female from male is an introduction of the Mohammedan period in India. This incident from the Mahabharata period proves definitely that the ladies of the palace observed strict parda, restricted association with men, and instead of coming down in the open air, where Lord Krishna and others were assembled, the ladies of the palace went up on top of the palace and from there paid the respects to Lord Krishna by showers of flowers. It is definitely stated here that the ladies were smiling there on the top of the palace, checked by shyness. This shyness is a gift of nature to the fair sex, and it enhances their beauty and prestige, even if they are of a less important family or even if they are less attractive. We have practical experience of this fact. A sweeper woman commanded the respect of many respectable gentlemen simply by manifesting a lady's shyness. Half-naked ladies in the street do not command any respect, but a shy sweeper's wife commands respect from all. Human civilization, as conceived of by the sages of India, is to help one free himself from the clutches of illusion. The material beauty of a woman is an illusion because actually the body is made of earth, water, fire, air, etc. But because there is the association of the living spark with the matter, it appears to be beautiful. No one is attracted by an earthen doll, even if it is most perfectly prepared to attract the attention of others. The dead body has no beauty because no one will accept the dead body of a so-called beautiful woman. Therefore, the conclusion is that the spirit spark is beautiful, and because of the soul's beauty, one is attracted by the beauty of the outward body. The Vedic wisdom, therefore, forbids us to be attracted by false beauty. But because we are now in the darkness of ignorance, the Vedic civilization allows very restricted mixing of women and men. They say that woman is considered to be the fire, and man is considered to be the butter. The butter must melt in association with fire, and therefore they may be brought together only when it is necessary. And shyness is a check to the unrestricted mixing. It is nature's gift, and it must be utilized. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Tarijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrinda Vaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamani Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone, for coming to Srimad Bhagavatam class today. So we'll just quickly recap what's been happening this chapter. Last couple of days, we've been discussing a lot of other different topics. Like Sunday, we talked from third canto, because it was Varadwadasi, and then Monday, Nityananda Trayodasi. Then again, yesterday, we talked about Narottam Das Thakur. It was Narottam Das Thakur's appearance day. So just a quick recap. So this chapter is titled The Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka. So the time has finally come when Krishna is about to leave Hastinapur. So a few chapters ago, we were saying that straight after the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna was ready, about to leave. But Mother Kunti, she pleaded with Krishna and offered so many wonderful different prayers. And there's a whole chapter about them, just dedicated to the prayers of Mother Kunti. And then after the prayers of Kunti, Maharaj Yudhishthira, he himself comes and pleads to the Lord to please stay back with us for a bit longer. And then Krishna, he decides to stay. And then straight after that, Krishna, he takes the Pandavas to see Bhishma Dev. And then we have this whole chapter glorifying Bhishma Dev. And I think that was the previous chapter. Yes, that was the previous chapter. And now the time has finally come. Krishna, it's mentioned in the previous verse of Prabhupada. Prabhupada was saying that Krishna stayed for not just a few extra days or a few extra weeks, but a few extra months. He ended up staying in Hastinapur, just to please his devotees, just to satisfy his devotees. So we're hearing one of the things we learned from this chapter is how even though Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he is the Lord and Master, of everyone, still he, out of his own will, he likes to come under the subordination of his devotees. He likes to come under his devotees, and he experiences great bliss and pleasure. So that's what we see in this chapter. Krishna, even though he's supremely independent, he, just to satisfy the desires of his devotees, he stayed back in Hastinapur, not just for a few weeks or a few days, but a few extra months. But now finally he's going to leave. So first we saw how Krishna, as part of his Leela, he plays the role of a perfect human being. He enacts his human-like pastimes. So the acharyas say that Krishna, he does two things simultaneously. He'll perform his pastimes in a way that's very human-like. At the same time, simultaneously, he will do certain things which is extraordinary, which no one else can imitate. So on one hand, like in Vrindavan, you see Krishna, he will just act as ordinary boy, look for his mother everywhere, and steal butter, milk, play with his friends, just like ordinary boy, wrestle with them, enjoy pastime with the gopis. But at the same time, simultaneously, he'll do things in his Leela, which is extraordinary, like lifting Govardhan Hill in the pinky of his left hand. So he'll do both things simultaneously. On one hand, he will act as ordinary human just for the sake of relishing pastime. On the other hand, he will do superhuman activities just to show, the rest of the world that, okay, although I'm acting as ordinary person, I'm not ordinary person. I'm actually the Supreme Lord. That's why Lord Brahma, he was bewildered when he saw Krishna, How is this person supposed to be the Supreme Lord, He's just, acting like just an ordinary child. How can he be a Supreme Lord? And then Krishna, in this picture we see, the Brahma Viman Leela, how he exhibits his supreme opulence. So Krishna, playing the part of a perfect human being, before he is about to leave, he first takes permission from his seniors. So, like we were discussing before, that in Vedic culture, we deal with three types of person: one who is elder to us, one who is on equal level, and those who are lower than us in seniority. So those who are elder to us, we take their guidance, we take their blessings, and we serve them, and that way get their blessings. So in this pastime, King Yudhishthira is actually senior to Krishna. Krishna and Maharaj Yudhishthira, they're cousins, but Yudhishthira Maharaj is the elder. So before Krishna is about to leave Hastinapur, first thing he does, he offers obeisances to Maharaj Yudhishthira, and he begs Maharaj Yudhishthira, is it okay if I leave now? I've stayed for extra months. Now time has come, my family back home, they're missing me in Dwarka, all my citizens. Is it okay if I please leave now? So like this, he very humbly bows down to Yudhishthira Maharaj and begs permission to be able to leave. Even though he's the Supreme Lord, everything is working under his direction, still he's playing the part of a perfect human being, and he's relishing, different rasas with different devotees. So his Maharaj Yudhishthira is relishing the rasa of being, a younger cousin to Maharaj Yudhishthira. So Maharaj Yudhishthira, he gives Krishna permission. Yes, yes, Krishna, you can leave. And then it's mentioned in Bhagavatam that Bhima and Arjuna, they were equals with Krishna. So before Krishna was about to leave, he embraced Bhima and Arjuna. And they exchanged nice words. And then Nakula and Sahadev, they were younger to Krishna. So Nakula and Sahadev, they came up to Krishna and touched Krishna's feet and took blessings from Krishna. So in this way, we're seeing Bhagavatam is showing us, how Krishna, he so lovingly dealt with, all the different residents in Hastinapur. So after that, we were given a series of different names in the next text of different devotees who were there and who experienced, the great pangs of separation because of Krishna leaving. So it was mentioned at that time, Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsu, Kripacharya, Nakula, Sahadev, Bhimasen, Dhaumya, Satyavati, all nearly fainted because it was impossible for them to bear separation from Lord Krishna. So this chapter of Bhagavatam is like a very emotional scene, because all these great devotees, for such a long time, Krishna was amongst them. And Krishna was personally talking to them, exchanging joking words, dining with them, eating prasad with them, guiding them, and so many intimate exchanges all these great personalities had with Krishna. Now after having such great intimate relationship with Krishna, they're all attractive. Now finally Krishna is going to leave. So you can imagine how much pain and separation they must be experiencing. So we discussed that a few classes ago. One nice point Rasamitra Prabhu was mentioning before was that among all these great devotees like Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, who are like all, pure devotees of the Lord. Amongst these pure devotees, the names of Dhritarashtra is also mentioned. That Dhritarashtra also felt pangs of separation. So this is like, it's a bit confusing, why is Dhritarashtra mentioned? Isn't Dhritarashtra the bad guy? Isn't he the, the evil king who, along with his son, was plotting the downfall of the Pandavas, trying to assassinate them and torture them so many different ways. So how come Dhritarashtra, being such an evil-minded person, not really a devotee, how come he's feeling this pangs of separation from Krishna also? How come he's mentioned in the same verse as Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, who are such great elevated devotees? So one nice point Rasamitra Prabhu was mentioning in previous classes that this is the power of sadhu sangha. So the power of sadhu sangha is that even though one might not be so elevated in consciousness, he might be of very low consciousness, if he is in the assembly of others who are great devotees of the Lord, then that rubs off on him. Just like fire, if you, Prabhupada said, you take an iron rod and put it into the fire, although originally the nature of the iron rod is that it's very hard and it's very cold. But if you bring it into the fire, close to the fire, the property or the qualities of the iron rod changes. Instead of being very cold, the iron rod starts becoming more and more hotter. The more it stays close to the fire, the more warmer and hot the iron rod becomes. And secondly, iron rod is usually very hard, and firm by nature. But the longer the iron rod stays in the fire, the more and more softer, malleable and flexible the iron rod becomes. Until one point, it just completely melts. So in the same way, we can see the effect with sadhu sangha. The more a particular jiva, even though he may be of very low consciousness, he may be very hard-hearted, just like iron, he might be very cold, but by associating with the devotees of the Lord, his heart will start to change. Just like the iron rod, it starts becoming more hot, it starts melting and changing its properties in the fire. Same way, when a person even though he's of low consciousness, if he's in the assembly of pure devotees of the Lord, his consciousness will start change, and there'll be a change in his heart. His iron-like heart will start to melt. So that's what Rasamitra Prabhu is explaining, that Dhritarashtra, although yes, he was such a crooked personality, not really, pure devotee of the Lord, still because he was in the association of all these great devotees of Pandavas, and he was seeing all these great devotees, crying and, lamenting so much in pangs of separation because of Krishna leaving, that rubbed off on him as well. And he also started feeling separation from Krishna also. So that's why Dhritarashtra's name is also mentioned, along with Draupadi, Kunti, and all the other great devotees. So that's one nice point Rasamitra Prabhu is explaining. And then, yeah, next verse, it's kind of like a rhetorical question, how can the Pandavas tolerate Krishna's separation, who had been intimately associated with them, seeing them face to face, touching him, conversing with him, sleeping, sitting, and dining with him. So after having such intimate relation with Krishna, so naturally, when Krishna is finally about to leave, naturally, so much pangs of separation the Pandavas would feel. And someone was, I think Nrsimha Prabhu was mentioning Bhagavatam class previously that we can also experience the same thing like Kadam Karan Maharaj. He challenges, he says, actually we don't know how much we're actually attached to Krishna. We don't know how much we're attached to chanting Hare Krishna. Kadam Karan Maharaj, he says that just try, not chanting Hare Krishna just for one whole day. Try doing this. Not think of Krishna, not chanting Hare Krishna, just try. It's actually impossible. So even though we're all neophyte devotees, we're just practicing Krishna consciousness, still we can experience what attachment to Krishna is like, just through simple thing like the holy name. If someone tells us, okay, from now, this day onwards, for 1 week, just don't chant about Krishna, don't hear about Krishna, don't read anything, nothing. It will be like impossible, it will be like torture for us. So from just this simple exercise, Kadam Karan Maharaj explains that actually, even though we're on a very neophyte level, still we can, by Prabhupada's mercy, by Krishna's mercy, we can still experience what attachment to Krishna is like, what separation from Krishna is like, through the holy name. And it's not like the holy name is different from Krishna, the holy name is non-different from Krishna. That's the conclusion of all the Shastras, Nama Chintamani Krishna. Krishna is non-different from his holy name, and just like Krishna can fulfill all desires, like a Chintamani, similarly the holy name can fulfill all desires. So we can all get a kind of understanding of what it was like for the Pandavas. Just like the Pandavas, there was so much intimately related to Krishna, and now Krishna is leaving. Same way, we can experience the same thing. In our mind, we can imagine what it would be like. And by Krishna's mercy, we also have like the same attachment, at least to chanting and hearing about Krishna. And then we heard, next verse explains, all their hearts were melting for him on the pot of attraction. They looked at him without blinking their eyes, and they moved hither and thither in perplexity. The female relatives, whose eyes were flooded with tears out of anxiety for Krishna, came out of the palace. They could stop their tears only with great difficulty. They feared that tears would cause misfortune at the time of departure. So naturally, being such an emotional scene, all the ladies of Hastinapur, they're crying, in pangs of separation from Krishna. But the amazing thing is, it's mentioned in this verse that although naturally, spontaneously, tears were coming out of their eyes, they were trying to control the tears and stop them from coming out. And why are they trying to stop the tears? Because they feared that tears were a cause of misfortune, Kind of like we have like superstitions, so like that. And when someone is leaving, no one should cry or do these kind of things. It's like very inauspicious for the person who is leaving. So these ladies of Hastinapur, they're feeling great pain, so naturally they're crying. But at the same time, they're thinking, oh no, if we cry, then, it will be misfortune for Krishna. It will be inauspicious for Krishna's leaving. So naturally, tears are coming, but at the same time, they're trying to stop the tears from coming out with great difficulty. So this is the nature of pure devotional service, that one's sole focus is only on how to please Krishna. Whatever pleases Krishna, that's what the devotee does. And the classical example, similar to the ladies of Hastinapur here, is that of, Daruka. It's mentioned in Nectar of Devotion that in the spiritual world, one time Daruka, he was fanning Krishna. And as Daruka was fanning Krishna, he started experiencing ecstatic symptoms. But even though, experiencing ecstatic symptoms, that's like the topmost stage of bhakti. And, when that comes, you'll think, oh, yes, this is like, finally it's happening to me. But Daruka, his consciousness was different. He was thinking, oh, no, I wish these ecstatic symptoms would go away because it's hindering my devotional service to Krishna, When I'm getting goosebumps and I'm crying and doing all these ecstatic symptoms happening, how will I be able to fan Krishna properly? So that's why Daruka was cursing this ecstatic symptom. No, please go away. I don't want this now. I want to serve Krishna. I want to fan him very nicely. So that's the nature of pure devotional service. One's sole focus is just on what brings Krishna pleasure. Everything else is secondary. Even though one may be experiencing ecstatic symptoms, if that hinders his devotional service, he doesn't want those ecstatic symptoms. And that's what we're seeing here with the residents of Hastinapur, especially the ladies. They're crying, but at the same time they're thinking, oh, if we cry, it will be inauspicious for Krishna's departure. So at the same time, they're trying with great difficulty not to cry. So it's like a big, dilemma for them. And the same thing, this is a principle of Vrindavan, Principle of Vrindavan is Krishna Sukha Hetu. So Krishna Sukha means pleasure of Krishna, and Hetu means cause. So every single activity the residents of Vrindavan do, they do simply for the cause of Krishna's pleasure. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he reveals, the mood of Radharani. What's the mood of Radharani? So the mood of Radharani is, Radharani or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says in CC that if my unhappiness gives happiness to Krishna, then I consider my unhappiness to be happiness. And if my happiness gives Krishna unhappiness, then I don't want that happiness. I consider my happiness to be unhappiness. So this is the nature of pure devotional service, that they're so selfless, It's just all about Krishna's pleasure. Even though something might be very hard or austere for us, something might be not according to our nature, something that's very difficult for us to do, still if that something is to the liking of Krishna, then the pure devotees, they're willing to accept that. And if something comes very natural to them and something gives them great pleasure, if that doesn't please Krishna, then they're willing to even reject that. So you see the height of selflessness of the residents of Vrindavan. That's why Lord Brahma, he's like bewildered, in Krishna book, he's praying to Krishna. Putana, she came to kill you, and the result she got was that she got the position of your nurse in the spiritual world. So if this is the reward you gave to Putana who came to kill you, then how will you repay back the residents of Vrindavan? It's impossible. You can't repay them back. What will you give? You've already given yourself to Putana as, given Putana the position of a nurse in the spiritual world. How will you repay back the Vrajvasis who have given their life and soul, who are doing such selfless devotional service? They've just completely surrendered themselves unto you. How can you repay them? So Lord Brahma is bewildered by this, and in the end he concludes, my Lord, it is my conclusion that you will forever remain indebted to the residents of Vrajvasis. You will always remain in debt. You can't repay them. It's impossible. So that was Lord Brahma's conclusion in the Krishna book. So that's the first thing, is how the nature of pure devotional service, that they're just simply thinking of Krishna's pleasure. And the second thing, amazing thing Prabhupada mentions in his purports, is that all these ladies, all these other ladies of Hastinapur, they were the wives and daughters-in-law of those who died in the battlefield, but they never came in direct contact with Krishna. But all of them heard of him and his great activities, and thus they thought of him, talked of him, his name, fame, etc., and became affectionate also, like those who were in direct contact. So in the previous verses, we were hearing about those who were in direct contact with Krishna, like Subhadra, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, the Pandavas, Kripacharya, Satyavati. And so all of these are great personalities that Krishna directly interacted with them. Krishna sat with them, dined with them, talked with them, gave them advice, played with them, had joking words with them. So many intimate exchanges Krishna had, with all these other residents of Hastinapur. But in this verse, these ladies of Hastinapur, Prabhupada is mentioning, they never actually had any single direct contact with Krishna. Although they never had direct contact with Krishna, Prabhupada is saying the amazing fact is they still developed that same affection for Krishna, just like all the others. So on one hand, there's you can divide the residents of Hastinapur into two categories. One is those residents of Hastinapur who had direct exchanges with Krishna. So naturally, it's natural that they've developed so much attraction and affection for Krishna. And naturally, they're feeling so much separation when Krishna is leaving. But on the other hand, we have the second batch of personalities, which is greater. Of those personalities, Hastinapur, they never actually had any direct exchange with Krishna. So these personalities, Prabhupada is saying, they're like the ladies, wives, and daughters-in-law of all the others, kings, princesses, soldiers. And now they've become widows because, all their husbands have died. So all these other ladies, they never had any direct relation or interaction with Krishna. So although on one hand we have certain personalities who had so much intimate relations, on the other hand there are those who never had any direct association. Prabhupada writes, the amazing thing is that both these categories, they developed the same affection for Krishna. Even though one had direct association, one did not. So how is this? So Prabhupada writes, it's because that the second batch of residents, although they didn't have any direct relation with Krishna, they heard of him. And they heard about Krishna's pastimes, the glories of Krishna. And simply by hearing and chanting about him, day and night, they developed the same attraction. So that's how Prabhupada explains that Krishna is absolute. So it's not that only if you personally come, in direct contact with Krishna, then you develop, that great affection, attachment to Krishna. No. Krishna is non-different from his holy name. Krishna is non-different from his activities, his pastimes, his glories. Krishna is non-different from, the holy Dham. So if one somehow or other comes in contact with that, if one simply hears and chants about Krishna, one can develop the same affection, the same attraction. So that's one amazing point that we can learn from this section. And Rasamitra Prabhu, he was giving other examples. One is of Mother Rukmini. She also, she never saw Krishna in her whole life. But she just heard about Krishna through Narad Muni, another great sage, that Krishna's like this, he's like that. And simply just by hearing about Krishna, she developed that firm determination. I'm going to get married to Krishna and no one else. And if I don't get married to Krishna, then I'll commit suicide. So like this, she had developed that firm determination just by hearing about Krishna. And the second example Rasamitra Prabhu was giving is of the wives of the Smarta Brahmanas that we see in Krishna book. That they'd never actually seen Krishna or any way interacted with Krishna. The only association with Krishna was simply by hearing about Krishna and Krishna's pastimes and, the beautiful form of Krishna. They would meet some gopis of Vrindavan and just hear from them about, Krishna's pastime, how beautiful Krishna is. And simply just by hearing about Krishna, they developed such great intense love and devotion for Krishna that when the cowherd boys, they came to the wives of these Smarta Brahmanas and they requested, Krishna and Balaram, they're just nearby, they're hungry. Is it possible to get some food for Krishna and Balaram? They immediately just left everything. They started arranging different types of prasadam and immediately just left the home and went to serve Krishna and Balaram. And this is like a very great thing, actually. Just like the gopis, when they're leaving the houses, it's actually in Vedic culture, it's very condemnable. Once, a lady, unmarried lady, she leaves her house, or even a married lady, she leaves her house and just goes out into open somewhere else, then she's just rejected from the society. No one will accept her back. The husband won't accept her back, and the whole society looks down upon her. So, but they didn't take that into consideration. They were able to take such a great risk just to serve Krishna. So that's why the gopis and these wives of the Brahmanas, they're so much glorified because they sacrificed so much. They were ready to, tolerate the, being separated from the family, being exiled, outcast from society. They were willing to tolerate all of that just for the pleasure of Krishna. And so much attachment and affection, how did they develop? They never had direct contact with Krishna, but simply by hearing about Krishna. So these are amazing examples. It's very important for us because many times, we might think, oh, okay, it's easy for Arjuna. Arjuna was directly with Krishna. What about us? We're just here, material world, Kali Yuga. No, Prabhupada says the same thing that was available for Mother Yasoda, same thing that was available for Arjuna, the same thing we can experience in ISKCON. Just right here, right now, same thing we can experience. Mother Yasoda is cooking for Krishna, we can also cook for Krishna. Arjuna is fighting for Krishna, and we can also fight for Krishna. Go out there, fight against Maya, distribute books, chant the holy name. So, and then next verse is mentioned that as Krishna is leaving, different drums were playing, mridanga, different other drums like dunduri, dundubi, different flutes, veena, gomuku berry, bells, and konksha. All these beautiful, instruments were singing, were being played. So same thing. That's why a lot of these instruments we see in Arti. So the whole arti process, arti is actually, it's like when you receive a great personality, when a great personality is, giving the association, coming forward, then the way to receive them in Vedic culture is that, you wash their feet, or you offer lamp to them, offer incense, offer flowers, the water, you blow conch shell. This all invokes auspiciousness, and that's the way to receive guests in Vedic culture. So that's why in the temple, Radha Gopinath, they're the king and the queen of the temple. So generally it's not so easy, to see the king and the queen. Only certain times during the day, the king and the queen, they would, reveal themselves to the citizens. So in the same way, certain times during the day, the king and the queen of the temple, Radha Gopinath, the altar opens and we can take darshan of them. And this is like such a great festival, just like, if the president of America comes to Sydney, or if the queen, queen or prince, something from England comes, then immediately there's a big procession, there's flowers, you see on TV, different persons will be giving flowers to the queen or the prince. And there'll be a big celebration. People will be lined up all the street, and they'll receive him very well. So that's just for a small, insignificant, ordinary little jiva. So what to speak of, Radha Gopinath, the Lord and the Master of the whole universe. So that's why naturally, whenever the curtain opens, we have like a big arti ceremony. We receive them by blowing the conch shell, we offer them lamp, and we, same instruments. They're playing mridanga for Krishna. Same way we're also playing mridanga, kartals, same instruments we have. Flute, also one pujari in the ashram, now he's learning how to play flute, so soon in different kirtan we also have flute along with mridanga. So like this we see all these things that were going on 5,000 years ago. By Prabhupada's mercy, we also have the same opportunity to do also. So, and then finally in this verse, I'll just read the translation again. It's mentioned, out of a loving desire to see the Lord, the royal ladies of the Kurus got up on the top of the palace, and smiling with affection and shyness, they showered flowers upon the Lord. So in this purport, there's two main things Prabhupada mentions. The purport is pretty much split into two paragraphs. First thing, Prabhupada is talking about the shyness of ladies in Vedic culture. So that's the first thing Prabhupada is saying, that in Vedic culture, a woman is supposed to be shy, and this increases the beauty of the fair sex. And the second thing Prabhupada mentions in his purport is about the need of, the restricted association between man and woman. And that's what we see in Vedic culture. And Prabhupada writes, human civilization, as conceived of by the sages of India, is to help one free himself from the clutches of illusion. So the whole purpose of this human body is to get out of material entanglement, to get out of the repeated birth and death. This human body is the only loophole by which one can get out of this material world. In all the different species, it's not possible. Only human body. So that's why the Shastra explained that when one gets this human body, it's such a very rare gift, very rare opportunity. Komara macharan pragna dharman bhagatanva durlabham manusam janma tadapi artaram artaram. So Prahlad Maharaj says, that's why right from the start, from the age of 5 years old, one should be trained in, bhakti yoga. Because this human body is very rare, and although it is temporary, it can give one the greatest gift. And the thing that distracts, the soul, the jiva, from getting out is, sense gratification. So to save the different citizens, the different residents of society, the Vedic culture is arranged such a way that sense gratification is limited, and the whole focus is towards Krishna. So that's why through childhood, the boys, they will be trained in brahmacharya. So they'll be trained in sense control, austerity, being submissive to the guru, following instructions, controlling the mind, controlling the senses, like that. And on the other hand, the girls, they will be trained in shyness, chastity, and things like that. So then in the future, when they unite through marriage, then they won't just live a life of, just simply sense gratification. But rather, they will assist one another in serving Krishna. And so that's why in Vedic culture, this restriction is there. Only in Prabhupada writes, in his purports, brahmachari, ashram, no, there's zero association. Grihastha ashram, there's restricted association. Vanaprastha, again, no association. And sannyas, again, no association. So 3 out of the 4 is completely like 0. And only in one ashram, there's that intimate association. So Prabhupada says, if someone's intelligent, they'll get the point, that this is not so conducive for spiritual life. So that's why in Vedic culture, this restriction is there. Otherwise, as we're seeing nowadays in society, everyone's just so much deeply immersed in sense gratification. And, sometimes, like I was hearing one lecture of my Guru Maharaj on a topic similar to this. My Guru Maharaj, he was explaining how sometimes, persons outside of ISKCON, they criticize Hare Krishnas, that, oh, you guys are against love, love between man and women. And sometimes even devotees, they feel this way. So my Guru Maharaj is saying that thinking that love can only exist between man and woman is a very narrow concept of love. And my Guru Maharaj, he was quoting from CC, he was saying that love means to satisfy Krishna's senses. That's the actual definition of love. And otherwise, if someone's trying to satisfy his own senses, then that's just lust. So that's what we're seeing in mature relationships nowadays. And my Guru Maharaj is saying that it's not that love is only between man and woman. Love can be between, one sannyasi and another sannyasi. Love can be between one brahmachari and another brahmachari. Love can be between, one Mataji and another Mataji. It's not that love can only be between man and woman. So one brahmachari along with another brahmachari, they could be serving Krishna together nicely, very affectionately, hearing, chanting by Krishna, serving Krishna. So that's love. Same way different sannyasis, God brother, they have loving exchanges with each other, hearing, chanted by Krishna, they do service. So that's also love. So the main thing is that Krishna comes in the center of relationship, and devotees, they serve and hear and chant by Krishna together. So if that's going on, then that's love. So love can be in household life, husband and wife, if they're working together to serve Krishna, they're chanting about Krishna, hearing about Krishna. And love could also be there between 2 brahmacharis, 2 sannyasis, one Mataji, another Mataji, father, son, anything. As long as Krishna is there in the center and the 2 devotees, they're helping each other in their service, then that's love. So it's not that, my Guru Maharaj mean that we're against love. Actually, we're all about love. Bhakti means love. But people from outside, they just need to be, just educated a little bit. Okay, we're on time, so we'll stop here. Thank you. Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Yoga Shila Prabhupada ki jai, entire Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari.